I'm going to try to keep this short. As they say, brevity is the soul of wit, or so according to Willie the Shakes. My name is Jeremy Rue, and I'm a lecturer here at the school. I teach classes in multimedia storytelling, web programming, web development, and the like. I first wanted to say to this class how honored I am to have been chosen as one of your speakers. In my 7 years teaching here at the school, this is the first time I've spoken as the lecturer speaker. And I'm really proud that it's this class in particular. I feel a very strong attachment to you guys for many reasons, not limited to you being one of the best classes I've worked with during my time here. But, but there's another reason why I feel a connectedness to you. It began on July 24th, 2012. You weren't quite students then. It was the summer before you started. You had been admitted to the school, and they had just signed you up for one of our internal email listservs. And by this time, you probably only received a few administrative emails about financial aid or something. And then on this day, you received a message from me, a very special message in my heart. It was the announcement of my first child, my daughter, Ellie. She was born 6 pounds, 14 ounces. I included a photo, and along with it, a message saying that I would be meeting you all very soon for the first time at a multimedia immersion boot camp, which we do in the first week of school. A grueling one, and doubly so for me with a newborn in tow. Well, here we are, nearly 2 years later. Ellie, as some of you have met, is a little person now. She walks, she talks, she cries sometimes. She's learning the world around her and absorbing life at every moment. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the parallels of her journey to yours have been striking. You see, you have changed a lot in these seemingly short 2 years. You were completely different people than when you began here at the school. You've learned so much, sometimes it's hard to even comprehend. During those boot camps in the first weeks of school, while a newborn Ellie was flailing her arms wildly, you too were inchoate in your skills. Some of you learning how to use multimedia gear like cameras and audio recorders for the very first time, hopefully with a little less flailing of the gear. But just as my daughter gained her coordination, so did you. Some of you who came to us with little or no video skills produced some of the most celebrated visual pieces of journalism in the school. As Ellie found her voice, so did you, in your writing, in your narration, in your storytelling. As Ellie was learning to walk, she fell a lot. But every time she picked herself up, dusted her hands off, and she tried again. Sure, there were tears. I counted 3 hard drive crashes this year where someone either lost or nearly lost media. But every time a resourcefulness emerged and you made it work. You picked yourself up and you produced. No predicament was too hard, too challenging to stunt the growth of your learning, of your development as a journalist. 2 years. In the course of one's life, it's an eye blink. In the course of your learning, immense. So what did you learn these past 2 years? Some of you learned how to conceive, shoot, and produce a documentary film from scratch. I personally find that incredible. Some of you learned how to create in-depth television narratives, or through the use of ambient sounds, music, and voice, you learned to manifest an image in the mind's eye through radio and audio storytelling. You learned to write with a prose worthy of even the most exalted national newspapers and magazines, some of which have already published your stories. Some of you learned to code. You learned an entire new language, complete with adjectives, nouns, verbs, tenses, and syntax to make storytelling interactive and participatory. Some of you learned about data. Our first data journalism and data visualization course was taught this year by no less than 2 New York Times graphic editors. You learned D3, MySQL, and R programming languages typically reserved for statisticians. I'll never forget Chelsea Moy proclaiming, "Jeremy, I love R." I never thought I would hear a J schooler say that. A programming language so obscure and so arcane, most people think it's nothing more than a letter of the alphabet. You harness these skills to parse large data sets and find stories to give meaning, real human meaning to numbers. And what exactly did you do with all of these skills? Well, let's see. Jesse Hamill, you went to Micronesia, to a remote island in the South Pacific, to report on its indigenous habitants may need to find a new place to live because rising sea levels will literally wash away the island they called home for hundreds of years. You used your coding skills to make an interactive documentary of their story. Pearlie used mapping data to expose a cover-up related to the cholera outbreak in Haiti. You constructed an interactive iPad story in the process, and I'll never forget getting an email after you returned from your reporting in Haiti saying, "Jeremy, can I come by your office to meet and talk about my project? Oh, and I think I caught cholera while I was in Haiti. But don't worry, I don't think it's contagious." Alana, you launched a women's online magazine complete with stories by several of your colleagues sitting beside you. Stories of burritos, a female gun club, and naked hot tubbing. An extraordinary feat now made possible with the advent of digital publishing. Tawanda and Carly, you both traveled across Africa for a month to report on 2 stories. Tawanda, you reported on corruption and money laundering by a president's son, and Carly, you reported on the preservation of the rhinoceros. You were stopped 10 times and had to bribe authorities, and you did all of this as J school students. I mean, that's incredible. Avni, you reported from India on sexual harassment of women. You created a choose-your-own-adventure-style interactive documentary where the viewer plays the role of a woman trying to accomplish the simple task of getting to work without being harassed. You did this complete with point-of-view video shot from Google Glass. I could go on and list all your projects. It was actually really difficult whittling this down to just a few highlights. So many extraordinary pieces of journalism were born these past 2 years. You came to us fledgling reporters, and you've grown so much. This summer, my daughter approaches her 2nd birthday, and despite how dramatically she's grown, her journey is just beginning. There is so much for her to learn, so much for her to experience in life. And for you, these 2 years were just the beginning. It was a launching pad. You will continue to learn, to grow. I don't believe for a second that the disruptive innovation this industry has seen is behind us, not even close. Vast new realms, entire new mediums, new forms of communication and platforms still lie ahead. And while that might sound scary to some, for you, it should resound as opportunity. You were primed to tackle the world before you. Never stop learning, never stop growing, never stop adapting to change. You look to the future with excitement about how you can harness the skills and values that you learned here in J School and take part in forging the next generation of journalism. You didn't come to Berkeley just to get some job. You came to Berkeley to lead, to make a difference. And I'm confident you will be the change we all hope for in the future. Again, I'm truly honored to have been invited to wish you off on this journey. Good luck, and we'll see you on the other side.